when that's done. And then I will say, okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Holistic Harmony Wellness Show live for today. We're coming to you with Sandy Uncaged Talks Astrology, and we have our hosts, Laura Mabe and myself, Tara Joy. So, Laura, why don't you introduce yourself for everyone who has not met you?
Hello. Thank you, Sandy, for joining us. I am Laura Mabe. I own the Jubilant Journal, and I am co-hosting the Holistic Harmony Show May 17th with my pal, Tara Joy.
Yes.
Very excited about this live, and I can't wait to hear from you, Sandy, and what you have to say. We were pumped about doing this with you. So thank you for being here with us today.
I'm on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm Tara Joy, the other co-host of the Holistic Harmony Wellness Show. It's sometimes tough to get out. And I am a energy intuitive that does intuitive readings, and so I'm always so interested in how other readers do their work, how the intuition and information comes through for them. So I'm so excited to have Sandy on today. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Sandy.
Okay. Well, I'm Sandy McLellan, and I own Sandy Uncaged Talks Astrology and Alternative Healing. I discovered astrology in an in-depth way about 8 years ago, and I'm hooked. So it helped me so much in my personal growth and my relationships that I just had to share it with as many people who would be willing and open to learn about it.
I love that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
You're
thank you
welcome.
for being here. We're excited to dig in. So maybe start by telling us a little bit about where one would find their sign information and what that actually means.
Okay. So most people know what their sun sign is, but that is just a tiny portion of your astrology or your natal chart. So there's three areas that I go to bring up charts and to find out more information about myself and other people. And so astrology is about all the planets, where all the planets were when we were born, and they're put in this like snapshot of where all the planets were around the earth, and they all play a role in who we are and our development and just helping us to understand ourselves better and our purpose for being here. So I use astro.com to bring up charts and share charts with other people because they seem to be the most simplest way for somebody to look at it and to discover more about it. Astro.com is a website, and I just have it like home screened on my phone, and you go in and you put your information in there. You can see it has like a wealth of information that you can look up. It shows you your chart, it shows you where the planets are currently. Now, when I first started out, the app that I used was called Cafe Astrology. It actually gives you a written report of your chart, which was great, but it wasn't enough for me. Like it tells you like your moon could be this, like it tells you what your moon is, but it tells you like you could be this or you could be that. And it really depends on where you are in your journey. The choices that you have made in this lifetime is why it's always this or that. So getting a personalized astrology reading is so much better than a report, but it's a good way to start. It really does give you a lot of information. And I even used Astrology Cafe or Cafe Astrology in the beginning to do personal readings for friends and family. But then I evolved so much that I needed something better. So I switched over to astro.com. But there's an app called Pattern, and it is amazing. you put your birth information in it. You can put other people's birth information in it. They'll give you compatibility between the two of you. It gives you daily messages like on your partner or anybody who you put into that app. They'll compare your two charts together. They'll send you messages about where you are in astrology, like on your journey, to help you understand like, oh, so right now is really about being at home and really embracing the home life and my internal self. And it'll tell you stuff about career, and it'll tell you like maybe right now the way that the planets are aligned, that this is an opportunity for you to grow in your personal relationships, like with your partner. So, and it'll blow your mind. Like it's awesome. I pay for the paid version, but the unpaid version is great for getting started and just to feel it out and see if it is something that you do want to invest in.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Those are great resources. I have heard of astro.com before, and I've heard some great things, but the other two I haven't, so I'm excited to check those out.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, same. I hadn't heard about Pattern, and so I'm excited now because I'm usually when I feel a little off, the first thing I ask is like, what are the planets doing? Like, what's happening? Who's in retrograde? Like, what's going on? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. You hinted on it a bit already, but how can an astrology reading help individuals?
So an astrology reading, there's things that happen in the planets at different points of our life because it's hitting the planets currently in the solar system are hitting planets in our chart. They're either lining up, matching up, or they're opposite, or they could be like at 90 degrees of that same planet when you were born. So it's activating stuff. It's trying to get you to grow. And so having astrology in your life can help you figure out, okay, what am I supposed to be learning right now? The planets will tell you what areas of your life that you're facing these challenges and tell you like what kind of energy it's bringing to the situation. And we have things that are called Saturn return. Saturn is a planet of karma. And every 29 years, it does a full return around the circle. Can I just pull up this chart to show you what I'm looking at so you can see?
Yeah, please do.
And okay, hopefully people can see that. They might need to.
It might be a little hard on a phone, but you can get the gist of it. In the middle, underneath these two lines is an X, which is you. That little circle is Earth. And then this blue area is where all the planets are when you're born. And this outer circle is the signs that the planets are falling in. And then the green planets on the outside, they're the same symbols as in this blue circle. That's where the planets are currently going through your chart.
Interesting.
Right.
So they make a full circle. The planets go around this way and they all go at different speeds. So Saturn, the planet of karma, takes 29 years to go around from where it was when you were born back into that position. And when it does that, it is creating some kind of big event in your life. And it can either be easy and wonderful, or if you have these red lines attached to Saturn, then it could be more challenging and there could be more things for you to learn in that experience. But
I asked for no whammies.
But if you have that knowledge, if you know that your Saturn return is coming up in the next year or so, and then you know, oh, okay, so there's something I need to learn right now. And there's this phrase that I learned a couple weeks ago, and it stuck with me, and I'm going to use this forever. But it says, if you're courageous enough to be curious, isn't that awesome?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
If you're courageous enough to be if you're curious enough to be if you're courageous enough to be curious, that's it.
Yeah.
Then you can evolve. If you're willing to know, then you can grow. And astrology helps you do that. And so there's other planets too. Like there's a big one called Uranus half return, because it takes like 87 years to do a full circle. So when it's actually opposite, which is what these red lines are referring to, is when one planet is opposite the other. So when your Uranus is here in the chart, when it's over here, now look, it is opposite. See this over here? This is Uranus. This is Tara's chart. So she just experienced a Uranus half return. And that's like midlife.
Okay.
So a lot of times that can be a time when you're like reflecting on your past and trying to figure out what it is you want to do. I'm getting chills so bad right now. What you want to do
You're
for the
speaking
next
my
half of your
language.
life. What's that?
Yeah, I said you're speaking my language.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
So you've probably had some serious decisions that you've made in the last couple years and
Yes.
are really impacting your life. And it's a choice of whether you want to go in a more enlightened direction or if you want to stay the same way that you are and keep hitting your head against the wall. Right. But
Yep. 100% accurate.
yeah.
If you only knew me.
Well, if I sat here, really looked at it, I could probably figure out exactly what it is, but we're not going to do that because that's too personal for live television.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate
You're welcome.
that. And because of like, so in what you just explained, what are some of the big life shifts that happen when that is occurring? Like, is it career? Is it
Well, it
relationships?
depends
Is it
on where it's showing
everything?
up.
Ah,
So, like, this chart, when we have your birth time, is broken down into 12 sections that represent different areas of your life. So if we have your birth time, we can investigate where that's actually happening. And if there's other planets that are aligning with that, those other areas in your life where those planets are happening is going to impact this change. And so it can really narrow it down.
right.
And then either with the knowledge that you learn through astrology or the help of an astrologer, you can really figure out what it is that the universe is trying to push you towards.
Yes. Push is what I'm very much feeling right
Oh, that's really interesting. I love that. And there's so much to it too. Like it's so intriguing. There's so much to it and so much to learn. And as somebody who is not super familiar with the charts, like every time I see one, I'm just like, oh, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? Like I feel like you could do a huge deep dive and that could be a whole live on its own.
Oh, yeah.
We could do a whole series, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sandy, just to back up a little, can you tell us about like when you knew that astrology and doing readings was something that you were super passionate about and maybe how that turned into a business for you?
Well, it was during my Uranus half return, to be
Okay.
honest.
Yeah.
I had just broken up from a major relationship. I had 4 stepkids and I had my own 2 kids, and we broke up. And it was something that I've been wanting for a while. And I think it started around the age of 39 when something else really big happens astrologically, where we have something called our North Node, which points us in the direction of where we're meant to head. Like it's our purpose in this life. And I'm pretty sure around that time I was starting to think, this isn't what I want out of life. I know there's a purpose for me. I just don't know what it is. And then so the next 3 years I was really humming and hawing about this. And then when I got closer to my Uranus half return, I left my well, it was a joint after we left. And then I went on this crazy adventure of just rediscovering what it is that what used to be important to me. And I was also in this major craze to find a partner that loved every aspect of that. And at that same time, I like not farther after that, I realized the only person that can make me happy is myself. The only person that is going to love every part of me is myself. And then I met that guy that I wanted so badly. And so astrology told me that him and I didn't get along. He was Gemini and I was water, or he was Gemini and I was Cancer. And air and water don't typically get along. And I'm like, But I know there's more to astrology than just the sun sign. So I want to learn what all the other planets have to do with our charts and how we do become, or how we are so compatible. And so I learned about Venus and Mars, and there's a whole bunch of other things in there that are really good for compatibility, and that all matched. It was just that thing on the surface that didn't click. And so from there, I used astrology to help me with my relationship with my daughter. She was like late teens, and I was like in despair, and I needed to be able to fix what was ever going on. I couldn't fix her side of it, but I fixed myself. Like I understood where I was being over the top, I guess, and the characters in myself that weren't helping the relationship, and I was able to work on those. And so seeing that happen for me, it's like I can do this for so many other people. Like I wanted to help other parents to be able to have better relationships with their teenagers, and it really comes down to working on yourself first. And astrology saves all that, like looking and trying to find the hidden stuff inside you. Like it points in the directions where you need to do the work and to be able to heal yourself, whether it's in relationships or just living a better life. And there's things in our chart that don't even have to do with where the planets are going right now, but the planets trigger this stuff. But like things like your rising sign, there's a rising sign that our birth time gives us, and it tells us what we're aspiring to be in this lifetime. And I can share with you guys in a minute what you guys are aspiring to be based on what you see in your chart. And then there's the moon sign. And the moon sign is like our subconscious self. And it really points in the direction of what we need to do for us personally, for our self-care goes, and our own personal therapy. And a lot of times with that rising sign, we don't see that in ourselves. We feel like we're challenged in that area. That's what we aspire to be. That's what we want to be from a very little child, is what we want, but we feel like we don't have it in us. So this lifetime is all about learning how to become good at those things that we think we're not good at. And then we see the magic. And the moon sign is also something we don't see, because it's so deeply embedded in us. It's like our natural reaction to things, and everybody that is close to us can see that side of us. And until you learn about astrology, then you start to see that side of who you are.
Yeah, I love a point that you made earlier too, where you said that you really do kind of have to understand yourself first, and really and how you're tying that back to astrology is really important. But I feel like that is the message. Like, to understand yourself truly is the only way to start with, putting that effort into those relationships. And your story and what you've said is kind of inspiring. I feel like that's kind of an important lesson for a lot of people, to know that it is very much like a soul journey, a personal individual thing first. Yeah,
it's true. You have to be true to yourself before you can expect anybody else to be true to you.
Right.
Yeah,
That's excellent. Well, thank you for sharing. That's amazing.
oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I'm curious now about our rising and our moon. What our aspiring.
Well, when I looked at your guys' charts this morning, you guys are very compatible.
Like, that's what I was hoping to hear.
You've been drawn to each other for a reason, and it's so funny, because I'm getting tingles again. Tara Joy has her sun in Aquarius, and Laura has her moon in Aquarius. So that's a compatibility thing right there. And then Tara Joy's moon is in Cancer. And where is your sun, Laura?
In Cancer?
Yes. Well, you should know that anyway, right?
That's amazing. I love it.
And remember what I was saying about how air and water don't typically get along? You guys both are made up of a good chunk of both of those. So it's like you guys have been brought together to be able to, because you can relate to each other, but you probably can also teach each other things about being in that type of energy. So having an Aquarius sun and an Aquarius moon, you're very much humanitarian type people and just want to save the world. It's your mission. That's what you're meant to do here. And you guys are doing that. Like, look at it. It's in Tara Joy, you also have your Venus in Aquarius. If you can see that right here. A Venus is what you love. It's what you like to surround yourself with. So humanitarian causes and just taking care of the world and the underdog and all that stuff is just something you love to do. It's from your heart. Like nobody can tell you that you're doing this for attention or anything like that. Like this is your heart. This is your core. And as far as you go, Laura, it's like you do it unconsciously, right? It's just natural to you to be able to go out into the world and help somebody who's like in despair. And then as far as the Cancer side of it, that makes you both very emotional, very sensitive, very intuitive, and just like emotionally connected to whatever it is that you do. And you're both very influenced by the moon. And because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and it would help you very much to, if you don't already, really understand the cycles of the moon, the quarters and the half moons and all that stuff. And also to be understanding of what signs they're in, because knowing what sign the moon is moving through, because it changes signs every 2 days, which probably means your moods change every 2 days. And if you understand that, then you give yourself a little bit more compassion and leeway for how you're feeling. And as far as rising signs go, Tara Joy, your rising sign is Virgo. And that's very much like the Aquarius. It's always helping and lending a hand. It has this deep desire to be of service to other people in some way or another. And so that could either be through alternative healing, because Virgo is very much about alternative healing and using alternative methods of healing as opposed to medicine.
I usually say mainstream medicine.
Right.
Okay, here we go. So that's your rising sign. So there's pros and cons to every sign. And so when it comes to your rising sign, I feel like it's about you accepting the good qualities of the sign and working with some of the more difficult ones. And as far as Virgo goes, some of the difficult things that Virgo can present in a person is control, like OCD, just micromanaging, trying to be very, very organized, wasting too much time on doing things perfectly. Like it's about a lesson is to learn to just be in the moment and not really worry about those things too much, because you could be missing out. Virgo also is a big manifester. And if you don't know how to use those skills for manifesting, you could be manifesting negative things into your life, like your health. And if you are aware of them, then you can bring in all kinds of abundance. So that's another lesson that you can learn there, which you probably have been working with that already. I just assume based on your character and
a
little bit that I know.
I'm learning, right?
Yeah.
And it's that trusting, right? And like you hit it on the head where it's like I find myself going back to, I need to go through step A, B, C, which is all the control, right?
Yeah.
I have to do A, B, C steps in order to get the payout, which is the manifestation.
Right.
Where in the universe, it's like, no, you just put it out there, be in the energy, trust that it's going to come. And
you're making me anxious just thinking about it.
Right? You just have to trust and surrender.
Yeah.
And amazing things like this call right now happens.
My moon is Virgo, so I feel you a lot.
Yeah. And I also have a lot of that perfectionism, which I feel a lot is definitely from my astrology and my energy and all of that, but it's also learned from generational ancestral history of energy of, we look prim and proper all the time. We don't make mistakes in public. You don't talk about those things in public. So it's all that, how others perceive me is ingrained in that. And so this whole journey is just letting all that go. Like, as RuPaul says, other people's opinions of me are none of my business, right?
So true.
Yeah. So yeah, it all like accurate, very, very accurate. So thank
It
you.
is funny that you mentioned the family into that, because with every rising sign comes a planet that rules that sign. Every sign has a ruling planet, but the planet that rules the sign on the rising is very significant to the whole chart. And so for the ruling planet for Virgo is Mercury, and we look to where that is in your chart, and it's in the area of home and your roots and your family. So it's telling me that those things are coming from your family, and that's probably where you project a lot of that too.
Yeah, that, it's all their fault because they raised me, right? It's not me.
I see some journaling around there, Laura.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I never claimed to be perfect, although I try to, right? But yeah, it's and also through this journey, it's that, oh, the things that I'm seeing because it's in me, right? It's in my energy, it's in my chart. I'm holding on to that somewhere. And so having all these clues, like coming back to how astrology can help, like having all these clues and these little tidbits of information helps bring so much clarity to the overall picture. And gives you those pinpoints of areas, as you said earlier, areas to be compassionately curious. And it's not about solving it all in one day, but just to be like, hey, why does that bother me so much that
Yeah.
my family is a certain way and it irritates or bugs me? Yeah. And then using the tools of astrology or intuition or however else to unpack that. Yeah.
That's what's on the surface. That's how I dealt with my spiritual journey, is just whatever was on the top, what was hammering in my head the most, that's what I started working on with first. And then once that was healed, then it was the next thing that was bubbling up.
Yeah.
And there, like, another thing with the Virgo rising is Virgo is very critical of other people and a bit discriminative, but I think really that individual is most critical and discriminative of themselves. And a lot of learning that Virgo will do is through seeing it in other people. So
yeah.
That's,
I usually, when I encounter someone who's extremely hard on others or judgmental of others, I'm often saying, if that's how hard they are on others, imagine themselves. Like, whoa, because that's a reflection of their own perception, right?
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So I'm also learning to be softer on myself. And
Good.
we never know. Like I used to be very judgmental and making all sorts of assumptions about people, but now I've learned to be more soft and understanding, and like starting with that communication rather than making the assumption of you missed the meeting, like you don't care about anything I do and don't value. No, it's like, what happened? Are you okay?
Yeah.
And then usually it's something, of course, that couldn't be moved or whatever, and they couldn't make the meeting. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad it wasn't something serious. We can reschedule because, nothing's an emergency, even though in today's society it It's all perceived to be an emergency. We all have saber-toothed tigers after us, right? Yeah. Yeah. So beautiful. Amazing. I love this.
And imagine how much you've evolved, how much you've changed as a person since you've made that realization, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And how that less judgmental aspect towards myself has just taken so much like stress and anxiety and worry off my shoulders, because I don't have to worry about being perfect anymore. I just get to be me. And really, like, that's all we really want to do in life, right? It's just be ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. That's a lot of information. And just from what I know of Tara Joy, like totally bang on.
Yeah.
And let's not ignore how compatible we just got confirmation of how compatible Tara Joy and I are, which we already knew, but it's great to hear it third party because we were like just randomly drawn together, and everything we've done since then has been absolutely amazing and beautiful. So hearing that too is kind of fun.
Yeah. If we looked at a synastry chart, and that's when we take your chart and Tara Joy's chart and put it together and see how everything lines up, it would have to be a karmic relationship. Like, you guys were meant to come together. You guys have a purpose that you have to do together, and you're already doing it. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. My hair stood up when you said that, because I'm like, yes, absolutely. We definitely feel that. And like I said, it's interesting to hear it from somebody else, because we've talked many times about how great it is that we've been drawn together, but knowing that there's a bigger purpose that we're still kind of uncovering, that's a lot of fun. So,
and that feeds your soul too, because this is like your guys' mission to help other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really cool. So at the show, Sandy, your main focus will be readings such as this with. Yeah, excellent. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that my plan was to do 15-minute readings for individuals. And it really is only going to give you, like what I just told Tara Joy about her rising sign, it's just a taste. Like, there's so much deeper we can go into it. And so, yeah, it'll just to get you a little bit more familiar with your chart, and to give yourself a little bit more compassion for who you are, and see what it is that you can evolve in.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, even in 15 minutes, there's so much information to take in. I love that. And also, you're one of our workshop presenters. Can you give us a little teaser of what you might be focused on there?
Well, I'd like to be able to do a demonstration, to be able to explain some of the main things that the chart has to offer, like just giving a description of each of the planet's roles, and maybe pointing out certain things to the audience about what we look to for personal growth and development, and like the rising sign, and there's other little things in there that we can discuss a little bit more, like the North Node and Chiron. Like, Tara Joy actually has a few things going on in her chart right now that are like just they're being activated. Like, the sun is on top of her Chiron, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So it is a major point in our chart that shows where we need to do like growth from our childhood. And and there was something I wanted to point out in your chart, Laura, is that there's something else that I do, which is called solar returns and lunar returns. So a solar return gives us a forecast of the next year, but your moon is lined up with the moon right now. And it takes 28 days to go through the whole chart. So I get what is called a lunar return from that, and it gives you a prediction of the next month of what to expect and like what kind of energy you're going to be experiencing. Are you going to be more laid back? Are you going to be super busy? Like what like is your career going to be highlighted, or is it going to be your family life? Those types of things. And I do that for myself like every month. It's a lot of fun, and it's just kind of gives you a little um, peek into what's in store.
Mhm.
Are you going to have money challenges, or is money going to be like coming right through the door?
Hopefully, mine doesn't say that I'm going to have money challenges. It's going to be coming right through the door.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't look at it specifically, but I did want to bring it up because I noticed that this morning when I looked at the today's chart, the moon was in Aquarius, and then I knew that your moon was in Aquarius, so it's pretty much lined up today, maybe even tomorrow. So
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah,
That's awesome. What I love about astrology too is that it's like literally written in the stars. You know what I mean? There's no, there is a little room for interpretation, of course, but it's like written down. You know what I mean? Instead
yeah,
of just like your own interpretation of like what your guides are telling you or what it might be. It's an interesting style of reading because it's very real and there's not a lot of like floof around it. It is written in the stars,
yeah,
so to speak.
yeah.
So that's exciting. I love it so much.
Hmm. Yeah, so we'll be sharing the full details of all of the workshops as we come closer to the show on May 17th,
Mm-hmm.
which is coming up very soon.
Yay, we're
It's
less
about
than a month
yeah, less
away.
than a month away, where you can get a reading from Sandy and come and join her workshop during the day and learn more about astrology and get a little bit of details on your own chart.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so looking forward to that. And we would love to have everybody come to that on May 17th at the Lebrun Recreation Center in Bedford, Nova Scotia. And it's happening from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Is there anything either one of you would like to say before we end the stream for this afternoon?
Well, one thing I just want to ask Sandy before we go is in
Yeah.
the meantime, if somebody wants to reach you, what is the best way to do that?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Sandy on Cage _ talks astrology. I'm on Facebook at Sandy on Cage talks astrology, and I also have a website that's called sandyoncage.com.
Perfect. Excellent. Good. Well, we are so excited to have you join us at the Holistic Harmony Show. And we're so grateful that you were able to join us today for this live and give us a little insight to what's going on in our charts. And yeah, we just can't wait to meet you in person and have you in our show. We're really, really excited. Thank
I'm
you
really
so
excited too. This is
Yes.
awesome. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you so much for being here.
much.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
thank you for this opportunity.
yes, it's been so much fun. So we're doing a few more lives. So everyone watching, we're going to be going live on Mondays around this time up until the show on May 17th. So we will see you in the next one.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.